What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl Tia Things back with another YouTube book review, and today is all spoilers. Every spoiler you could possibly imagine will be spoiled today because this book review was requested by one of you, so I am even more ready to dive all the way in. Thank you so much to my subscribers. Thank you so much for commenting, asking for videos, watching my videos. I absolutely am so thankful. Keep commenting any requests you have. I'm gonna try to get to all of them. Today's is a very special book review. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover's book review, and I'm going on all the spoilers, so get ready. But there is something I want to touch on before we even start the book review. Please know there are very serious trigger warnings for this book. I don't always feel like people who talk about the book give enough trigger warnings, to be honest. I feel like sometimes it's a little bit glossed over, but it's a very real situation, very hard to read story at some points. So please be warned, be aware. There are extensive discussions around abuse, spousal abuse, childhood abuse, sexual abuse. If any of that is a trigger for you, even if it's not, please be very aware of it. It's not an easy book to read. It's coho, so it's an emotional roller coaster, but it's even more so. It was hard to read just from someone who's not triggered by those things. So please be aware before you jump into this book. If you want to watch this video so that you're aware of what's to come, I will be giving full spoilers. I will be giving, not too detailed, but detailed enough examples of some of the things that might trigger you. So please know that that will be mentioned in this video as well. And this is just a general warning for anyone who that might be too much uncomfortable for or triggering for, okay? Let's dive right in. So, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover is a book that I have to say I really enjoyed in terms of the character development. I enjoyed the flashbacks to her childhood, which are very important. I enjoyed the letters you see throughout the book, again, very important. But again, it was really hard to read. I actually was crying while reading this. I didn't sleep for days after reading this, and I think that's a telltale sign of it being very tough to read, but also of how well it is done, because it really hit your soul and your heart so hard. It broke my heart. So, the story follows Lily, who's the main character, in her adult life. She's a young woman, and she meets Ryles, who is boyfriend goals when you meet him. I mean, he's a doctor, he's got his stuff together, he's charming, he's witty, they have great chemistry. It's really a great start to the book. And you see their relationship start to develop. She meets his sister, and there's just like a really nice kinship with his sister, really nice friendship that is formed. All is really just well in the beginning of the book. It was almost a start that makes you think this is going to be a really easy romantic read. And then you dive in, and the flashbacks start as well. The flashbacks are to her childhood, where you see her parents. Mainly, you see the abuse that she witnesses in her home as a child. So her father would abuse her mom regularly. She would witness it. She would be involved. And a lot of the time, she would kind of have to obviously deal with that on her own, but she does eventually meet someone as a child, we're still in the flashback, named Atlas, who becomes kind of her kindred spirit. He's from a very different social economic background. He's kind of on his own, figuring out life, and she is his safe place and he is hers. So it's really like a beautiful friendship that they develop as tween teens and onward. So you get a lot in just this first part of the book. You're seeing Ryles, you're seeing Atlas, you're seeing her parents, you're seeing her now meeting his sister. It's almost like the new family that she may form, you see coming in, and you're seeing her background as a character. There's so much more depth to her than what you initially see. So this is when things start to take a turn, when all is well. She and Ryles are moving quite fast. They get along really well. And the first sign, well, there are a few, but some of the first events that happen that are signs to the reader that something may happen here. Say he grabs her wrist because he's upset at her and he overreacts when she drops something, or he gets jealous. So you're starting to see some red flags around Ryles, which again, like I said, you really like him when you start reading this book. So you're not anticipating it, and you're kind of seeing it, but you're wondering, is it just me though? which I think was done on purpose and brilliantly, because it really puts you in the position of almost of Lily, who's like, is this something I need to be worried about, or is it not? So it's really, really interesting. I really like how that was written and how it was dove into. That being said, so you're getting a few red flags from Ryles, which slowly, incrementally increase. You are definitely getting full-on red flags by a couple chapters in. There is some beginning of abuse, and through those, you're also seeing the flashback of extensive abuse, her parents, that cycle that she witnessed as a child growing up. There's really this full circle moment happening, and you're seeing a lot of mirrored items. So a lot of things happening to her currently are very obviously similar to what happened between her parents and to her mother, what she witnessed. You're seeing her friendship with Atlas as well simultaneously, and how they're there for each other and how they care for each other, and eventually how that relationship also becomes romantic as teenagers. So you kind of get a lot in this short span of time. The situation with Ryles continues to the point where she's in denial, we'll say, but she is being, I would say, repetitively abused. It's not exactly extensive abuse each time, but it's amping up and an increasing increment. And at the same time, and this is where everything kind of shifts a little bit, there are two characters that I feel really shift the entire story. One being Ryles' sister, Alyssa. The way she speaks of him, the way she speaks to Lily, the way she speaks to their relationship is almost as though she's giving some kind of warning, not directly. She's obviously his sister, so maybe she's not sure. Maybe she's trying to be just in the background in case, but there's some hints there that she's aware of a little bit more than you think she should be. And then there's also the very epic, very important moment where Ryles and Lily are at a restaurant and they meet, I'm gonna say owner or chef. I'm so sorry, it's not coming back to me right now. The head chef, maybe and owner, I think it may be both, of the restaurant, who comes out, and it is Atlas. It's Atlas from her childhood. He's made something of himself. He has obviously succeeded in life. He's doing extremely well. It's a beautiful restaurant, for example. And he sees Lily, and this is when they reconnect, and this is really where everything shifts. This is where he sees her after a few moments spoken. I can't remember if it's the first time they see each other or the second time they see each other. He directly asks her. He knows, he sees the signs, he knows that she's being abused, and he directly asks her. She kind of tries to get away from him, and no, I'm fine, I fell, blah, 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 blah. He sees right through it. In one moment of the book, which is one of the most powerful moments of the book for me, he tells her, like, okay, you're good, but when you're ready to admit what you need to admit, I'll be here. And I thought that was really beautiful, because I think that that's something that in real life a lot of people go through, where they're like, I want to help you, but you're not ready to be helped, so you let me know when you get to that ending point where you need help. So they kind of start intertwining a little bit more and a little bit more throughout the story. Ryles' jealousy enhances a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. So there are a lot of tough moments throughout this. And then another moment where everything shifts is, well, there's a few. There is a moment where Ryles almost does a step up or a new level of abuse, and I don't want to jump into that because I'm not sure what I'm allowed to do here on YouTube, but there is a level of an attempt, let's call it, of sexual abuse. It does not end up happening, not because he chooses not to, but I think he passes out because he's drunk, if I'm not mistaken. And this is where you also see a flashback to her childhood again, where she witnesses that abuse of her father on her mother. And so it's very, very difficult to read this section of the book. And you also then see a little bit of a turning point. And this is also right around the time, again, huge spoiler here, huge spoiler, she finds out she's pregnant. And so all of this whirlwind now, like a new line has been crossed. She finds out she's pregnant. There's all of these aspects happening. And it's like, okay, what now? We got to do something. And at this point, everyone is involved. Alyssa's involved, Atlas is involved, Lily and Ryles, of course. Ryles is extremely emotional and very sorry, and he knows what he's doing is wrong, obviously, but it doesn't mean it's not happening again. It's continuing to happen. Now that there's a child happening, this needs to be considered even further. So Lily does eventually make the move. You do find out to leave him. His sister is incredibly important in that decision and that support making, and having a safe space to go and getting away from him and helping mitigate and mediate the situation between the two of them. She's really like the level-headed one. I have to say, I'm not sure how I feel about her in the sense that like she's a friend, but she's also his sister, so she's not like, there are moves made in support, but they're like kind of in support of both, which was a little icky sometimes to read, I have to say, just for me personally. Obviously she's doing the right thing in the end, giving Lily her space and her peace, but it's like, I don't know. I'm not sure I love Alyssa. She gives me a little bit of like undercover, like, what do you really think? What are you really doing? But she does end up being a very safe space for Lily and for Ryles. And so she helps develop a plan in which Lily will get space from Ryles, get her own space. Ryles gone, they're not together, and she's having a baby. And that is obviously an added layer because you can't just exile someone from your life when you're having their child. So this was a very interesting dynamic and how this comes to be. And the custody agreement was something that I found so wild. She's very trusting, let's put it that way. But she does trust him with his daughter in the end. They do have shared custody, but it's something that's worked on. And it's something that maybe we'll see more of in It Starts With Us, maybe, I don't know. But the book ends with Atlas and Lily meeting again because they have taken some time apart. Obviously she was pregnant, she didn't want his help. It was very difficult. He can't be in this cycle forever either, which I don't blame him for at all. And so now they've kind of re-met, and he sees her and her child and Ryles, and she does end up telling him that she's not with Ryles, but they have the daughter together and she's single. And so it ends with this reconnection between Atlas and Lily, kind of leaving you hanging, hoping, knowing exactly what's coming. So like I said, this is a book that takes you on a huge roller coaster. It Starts With Us is the next installment. I have to say, very honestly, I haven't read it yet. It's on my TBR. It has been for a while. So maybe I'll do another video on that one if you guys like this, and we can kind of explore the world together as it continues for Lily and Atlas. But like I said, please know trigger warnings are very real for this book. It was very tough to read at some points, a very real read. If you guys have any other books that you want reviewed, comment down below. And one thing I do want to say is the movie for It Ends With Us cast has been announced. So if you haven't heard, Justin Baldoni, who I believe is directing and producing along with Coho, is going to be playing Ryles, which I think is going to be insane. He's gonna be so good, but it's gonna be so hard to watch because he's such a feminist and a lover, and like everyone loves Justin Baldoni. So I can't wait to see him in this role. I think it's gonna be super interesting to watch him in something completely opposite to his real life personality, which we've all come to know and love, if you're a fan of his. And they've cast Blake Lively as Lily, so I'm really interested to see, is she gonna play both Lily in the flashbacks and the current time, or will there be a different Lily? As well as they've cast Ryles' sister. They've also cast Atlas. So really the cast now is set up. Filming, if it hasn't already started, will start soon, and the movie will come out, I think, 2024 if we're lucky. Maybe 2025, early 2025, but I'm hoping 2024. And again, I'm interested to see how they're gonna do this because it would be like an R-rated movie if they put everything that's in the book in a movie. So I'm just curious to see how this is gonna be finessed. Will it be more unsaid than said? I don't know. we'll have to see. So we'll stay tuned for that and we'll talk about it when it comes out. But that is all for me today. Comment below, like, subscribe, all the things, guys, and follow me on Instagram at Tia Things. I am always here for your book recommendations and book reviews. Have a great